Hi, my name is Ashish, and in this video we will see Azure architecture and service guarantees. In this module we will explore the physical structure of Azure infrastructure, understand the service level agreements provided by Azure, learn how to provide our own service level agreements for the apps. Understand data centers and regions in Azure. Microsoft Azure is made up of data centers located around the globe. When you leverage a service or create a resource such as SQL Database or virtual machine, you are using physical equipment in one or more of these locations. The specific data centers are not exposed to end users directly. Instead, Azure organizes them into regions. What is a region? A region is a geographical area on the planet containing at least one but potentially multiple data centers that are nearby and networked together with a low latency network. Azure intelligently assigns and controls the resources within each region to ensure workloads are appropriately balanced. When you deploy a resource in Azure, you will often need to choose the region where you want your resources deployed. Special Azure regions. Azure has specialized regions that we might want to use when building out the applications for compliance and legal purposes. These would be US DoD Central, US Government Virginia, US Government Iowa and more, China East, China North and more. Understand geographies in Azure. Azure divides the world into geographies that are defined by geopolitical boundaries or country borders. An Azure geography is a discrete market typically containing two or more regions that preserve data residency and compliance boundaries. So these geographies allow customers with specific data residency and compliance need to keep their data and application close. Geographies ensures that data residency, sovereignty, compliance and resiliency requirements are honored, and these are fault tolerant to withstand complete region failure through their connection to dedicated high capacity networking infrastructure. Geographies are broken up into the following areas: America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa. Availability zones. You want to ensure your services and data are redundant so you can protect the information in case of failure. When you are hosting your infrastructure, this requires creating duplicate hardware environments. Azure can help by highly available throughout availability zones. What is an availability zone? Availability zones are physically separate data centers within an Azure region. Each availability zone is made up of one or more data centers equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking. It is set up to be an isolation boundary. If one zone goes down, the other continues working. Availability zones are connected throughout high-speed private fiber optic networks. So, in an Azure region, you have availability zone 1, 2, and 3. Supported regions. Not every region has support for availability zones. So the regions who have availability zones are Central US, East US 2, West US 2, West Europe, France, Central, North Europe, Southeast Asia. You should use high availability zones in the apps. You can use availability zones to run mission critical applications and build high availability into your application architecture by co-locating your compute storage within a zone and replicate. Well, keep in mind that there could be a cost to duplicating your videos, your services, and transferring data between zones. So availability zones are primarily for VMs, managed disk, load balancers, and SQL databases. So Azure services that support availability zones falls into two categories: zonal services and zone redundant services. Well, in zonal services, you pin the resource to a specific zone. For example, virtual machine, managed disk, IP addresses. In zone redundant services, which is platform replicates automatically across zones. For example, zone redundant storage. You will see when I'll make the virtual machine part of availability group. So what is region pairs? Well, availability zones are creating using one or more data centers, and there is a minimum of 3 zones within a single region. However, it's possible that a large enough disaster could cause on an outage large enough to affect even 2 data centers. That's why Azure also creates region pairs. Well, what is a region pair? Each Azure region is always paired with another region within the same geography, such as US, Europe, or Asia, at least 300 miles away. The benefit of this approach allows for the replication of resources such as virtual machine storage across a geography that helps reduce the likelihood of interruptions due to events such as natural disasters, civil unrest, power outages, or physical network outages. If a region in a pair was affected by a natural disaster, for instance, service would automatically fail over to another region. Examples of region pairs in Azure are West US paired with East US and Southeast Asia paired with East Asia. Advantages of region pairs. Well, if there is an extensive Azure outage, one region out of every pair is prioritized to make sure at least one is restored as quick as possible. Planned Azure updates rolled out to a pair regions, one region at a time, and data continues to reside within the same geography as its pair for tax and law enforcement. What are service level agreements? Well, Microsoft maintains its commitments to providing customers with high quality products and services by adhering to comprehensive operational policies. So SLAs describe Microsoft's commitment to providing Azure customers with specific performance standards. There are SLAs for individual Azure products and services. SLAs also specify what happens if a service or product fails to perform to a governing SLA specification. SLAs for Azure products and services. There are three characteristics: performance targets, uptime and connectivity guarantees, and service credits. And if you talk about uptime and connectivity guarantees, so if an SLA is 99, downtime per week is 1.68 hours, downtime per month is 7.2 hours, per year it's 3.65 days. So a typical SLA specifies performance target commitments that range from 99.9 to 99.999% for each corresponding Azure product or service. These targets can apply to such performance criteria as uptimes or response times for the services. And how would you calculate the downtime? So consider an app service, a web app that writes to Azure SQL Database. These Azure services currently have the following SLA. So let's say web app has 99.95% and the SQL database would be 99.99%. In this example, if either service fails, the whole application will fail. In general, the individual probability values for each service are independent. However, the composite SLA value for this application is 99.95% into 99.99%, which would be 99.94%. This means the combined probability of failure is higher than the individual SLA values. This isn't surprising because an application that relies on multiple services has more potential failure points. Conversely, you can improve the composite SLA by creating independent fallback paths. For example, if SQL database is unavailable, you can put transactions into a queue for processing at a later time. So if we have a queue within it to prevent the SLA, with this design, the application is still available even if it can't connect to the database. However, it fails if both the database and the queue fail simultaneously. If the expected percentage of time for a simultaneous failure is 0.0001 into 0.001, the composite SLA for this combined path of the database or queue would be 1.0 within the difference, that is 99.9999%. So that is how the improve the SLA behavior by integrating more applications. So when we talk about understanding the app requirements, so to build an efficient and reliable Azure solution requires knowing your workload requirements. You can then select Azure products and services and provision resources according to those requirements. It's important to understand the Azure SLAs that define performance targets for the Azure products and services within the solution. This understanding will help you create achievable application SLAs. In a distributed system, failures will happen. Hardware can fail. The network can have transient failures. It's rare for an entire service or region to experience a disruption, but even this must be planned for. Well, and in continuation with the behavior, and so let's say you want to manage the Azure services. How would you manage the Azure services? We know that when I showed you the process to log on to the Azure, how do you sign up? I showed you the portal wherein you will have the access when you will be signed up. So let me just open the portal and share the description and the corresponding theory and portal where you'll be managing your resources. I am logged on to the portal, and now if you would see the introduction here. So Azure is the cloud platform that provides compute, storage, and network resources, as we all know. And the platform or the portal that you will use to create all those resources, it is the Azure portal that you see here, right? So this is the left pane. So a lot of has been changed in the Azure portal since this amount of time. So if you would see here, so management options. So we can configure and manage Azure using a broad range of tools and platforms. These are the tools available for the command line, language specific development kits, developer tools, tool for migration, and many others. So we have Azure portal, Azure PowerShell, Azure command line interface, Azure Cloud Shell, and the Azure mobile app. So Azure portal is a public website that you can access with any web browser. Once you sign in with your Azure account, you can create, manage, and monitor any available Azure resources or services. The dashboard view provides high-level details about the Azure environment. The portal doesn't provide any way to automate a repetitive task. For example, to set up multiple VMs, you would need to create them one at a time by completing the visit for each VM. If you want to automate it, you will use the Azure deployment through ARM template. So if you would see the Azure portal here, and if you would see the dashboard, so click on here. So this is the dashboard. It looks like you can click on auto refresh. You can enable it every 30 minutes. All right. And if you want to create a new dashboard, you want to upload an image to this dashboard, you can do it. You want to edit this existing dashboard, you want to add a clock, click on add here. So it's a 24-hour clock, done. You would see a clock here. You want to add resources, resource graph, single value tile, anything that you want to add. So you want to add in the application maps, you can add it. And you can drag and drop it. So if you would see here, you can set up here, service health here, you can add drag and marketplace here, application map, you can shift it here, right? You can compress it, you can delete it, you can remove it. So this is how everything would work. You click on done customizing. So I created, you want to delete this, click on the dashboard here. You want to delete it, click on delete, the dashboard would get deleted. All right. This is how you do it. And Azure PowerShell is a module that you can install for Windows PowerShell or PowerShell Core, which is a cross-platform version of PowerShell that run on Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. Azure PowerShell enables you to connect to your Azure subscription, manage resources. Windows PowerShell and PowerShell Core provides services such as shell window, command passing. Azure PowerShell then adds the Azure specific commands. You will have to PowerShell and then these install Azure PowerShell module, right? So if you would see here, if I have PowerShell, you click on run as admin, PowerShell would launch. I am not sure if I have installed the PowerShell modules on this. We can check as soon as it ends. So you connect. Let's see if it goes. So you can log into the Azure account. You can connect to the account. I've not installed the Azure modules. I'll do that and I'll show you. You have the Azure CLI, is a cross-platform command line program that connects to Azure. Same as the PowerShell, but the command line syntax is different. So here it is new AZVM, here it is AZVM create, resource group. The syntax is different, but the same things that you can do with PowerShell, you can do it with the CLI as well. You also have to install this on your computer from which you are accessing your portal. Then we have Azure Cloud Shell. Azure Cloud Shell is an interactive, authenticated browser accessible shell for managing Azure resources. It provides the flexibility of choosing the shell experience that best suits the way you work. You can switch between two shells and both support the Azure CLI and Azure PowerShell, so you can work with either Bash or PowerShell. But you can switch to PowerShell core within Linux by typing pwsh. So let me show you how you will access the PowerShell. So this is the Azure Cloud Shell. On the top, you click on it and you will see a window that will be launched. In few seconds, you will see other options. You can either go with the default options. Like if you will click on create storage, it will mount the storage, Azure managed storage from the backend, and you can use the Azure Cloud Shell. And if you want to, make your storage as per your needs, in which region would you like to have it, like Central India, you want to create a new resource group, then you will create a new storage, you will create a new file share, then you will create the storage to use Azure Cloud Shell on the Azure portal. And you can create, build and deploy apps right from this browser-based environment. It's all persistence as well. You are prompted to create an Azure storage account when you access the Azure Cloud Shell, like I showed you. This storage area is used as your home folder, and any scripts or data you place here is kept across sessions. So each subscription has a unique storage account associated with it. So you can keep the data and tools you need specific to each account you manage. So it provides with all these. You have Git, Maven, Make, NPM. You have a code editor, Vim, Nano, Emacs. The developer tools that are available are .NET Core, Python, Java, and Node.js. Then you also have Azure mobile app to access the Azure portal. So the Azure mobile app allows you to access, manage, and monitor all your Azure accounts and resources from the iOS or Android phone or tablet. You can check the current status. You can stay informed with the notification and alerts about the health issues. You can quickly diagnose and fix issues anytime, anywhere from your mobile app. You can review the latest Azure alerts. You can start, stop, and restart virtual machines or web apps. You can connect to your virtual machines. You can manage permissions with RBAC. Use the Azure Cloud Shell to run saved script or perform the ad hoc administrative task. So anything that you can do with the Azure portal, you can install the Azure mobile app on your phone and use it to access your Azure resources. So what is the pane? So Azure portal uses the panes model for navigation. Pane is a slide out panel containing the UI. Each pane contains some information and configurable options. Some of these options generate another pane which reveals itself. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you will close it and let's say you click on create a resource. So the window that will come up is a pane model that Azure uses. So let's say you click on create a new VM here. You click on Windows Server 2016, a virtual machine here. So this is the model that, if you will see here, see, so when you click on something, it opens up another pane. Now you can enter your options, and when you will click on it, it would take you to another options on the same screen. So what is Azure Marketplace? One of the panes you can access in the Azure portal is the Azure Marketplace. This is often where you will start when creating new resources in Azure. So Marketplace is, so click on the dashboard. So this is the Azure Marketplace. Let's say you want to go for the compute. So if you will click on here, you will see all of these options, that what is available to you in the compute section. Like in compute, you have these Kubernetes service, right? In the identity, you have all these services. This is the marketplace you can have and access to the resources. the one that you want to create. And access public and private preview features. So Microsoft offer previews of Azure features for evaluation purposes. With Azure Preview Features, you can test beta and other pre-release features, products, services, software, and regions. Some of the common areas you will see previews for include are new storage types, new Azure services such as machine learning enhancements, new or enhanced integration with other platforms, new APIs for services. Once a feature has been evaluated and tested successfully, it might be released to customers as part of Azure default product set. This release is referred to as general availability for the public. Feature preview categories. So there are two types of previews available: private preview and public preview. An Azure feature marked private preview is available to Azure's customers for evaluation purposes. An Azure feature marked public preview is available to all Azure customers for evaluation purposes. So this is what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you understood most of it. And if you had to, please watch it again and again. And if you have any queries, please mention them in the comment section, or send an email to me, discusscloudcomputing@gmail.com, and I would try to answer all your queries. So till next time, have a good day ahead. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Locating it in another zone.